Okay, so for your indirect method, I'm just running through the solution. But I do suggest that you'll go through the case study. When you go through the case study, come across every number. Okay, every number you see, make a note there of whether this is an operating, whether it's investing, whether it's financing. On your sheet, you should have the entire format of the cash flow ready. Learn the format. It's an easy format. You know the logic for every heading now. Okay, and then as you see the number, just try to classify into one item that you have already written. That's the process you should follow when you see the case study. Now if we see this question, it's starting with profit before taxes. Now for operating activities, to find the cash that you generated from operations, you will first make all the adjustments that we discussed. First adjustment that has been made is obviously depreciation, which is your non-cash expenditure. So this profit figure had come after charging depre as an expense. Now to find cash, I will add back that depreciation. Second is gain on sale of equipment. So if I had an equipment that I had purchased, equipment machinery for 100, okay, उसको depreciate करके आज उसकी book value मेरे books में 80 rupees थी, and I sold it at 120. So I made a profit of 40 bucks. Now, when I recorded this profit in my PNL, so this profit is after taking this income, right? But this profit is not related to my core business. यहाँ पे जब मैं लिखती हूँ cash generated from operations, I want to find out purely कि मेरे core business के operation से कितना पैसा आया है. That is why here I subtract the gain, because it's a non-operating income, right? And that gain will get recorded, but it will not come under operating activities. We'll come to it later. So here the profit portion gets subtracted from the profit. Okay. Interest income, interest expense is getting added back. Again, counterintuitive. Expense है but मैं add कर रही हूँ. क्यों? Because ये expense इधर नहीं दिखना चाहिए. So यहाँ पे ये profit was created after deducting this expense. I don't want that. I add back that expense. Again, it will come somewhere. We will see where it comes. Okay. Now this is one subheading of operating profit before working capital changes. Working capital changes means those current asset, current liabilities changes that we discussed. Okay, current assets and current assets minus current liability gives you working capital, right? Which is why those are called working capital changes. So here what they have done, accounts receivable. If you will see, उसका opening balance था 1,39,500 and in the balance sheet the closing balance was 69,500. Okay, it means uh, 1 second. Okay, 1 second. I'll just check the question for this. Give me a minute. Yeah. Okay. So in the question, they have given that this 139,500 है ना, वो 2005 में था और 69,500 2004 में था, राइट? इट मीन्स कि मेरा डेटर्स या मेरा इन्वेंट्री उतने से बढ़ गया है, मेरे करंट असेट्स उतने से बढ़ गए हैं. इट जंप फ्रॉम 69,500 टू 139,500. इट मीन्स मेरा कैश उतना अटक गया, इधर इट गॉट स्टक विद डेटर्स और इट गॉट स्टक विद इन्वेंट्री. So I deduct it. Okay, this is an increase in current assets, so I deduct it. Oh, sorry, inventory they have done separately. Cool. So inventory also, if you again you can refer to the balance sheet for the changes कि 2004 में inventory कितना था and 2005 में inventory कितना था. In this case also inventory must have gone up because inventory went up. It means मेरा cash अटक गया to purchase inventory, so मैं cash में से subtract कर रही हूँ. After that there is prepaid insurance. So again prepaid insurance दिख रहा है, again it's an increase in current assets. तो इट मीन्स मैंने प्रीपेड इंश्योरेंस कहीं तो पे किया है, विच इज वाई इट इज शोइंग अप इन माई असेट्स, विच इज वाई आई सब्ट्रैक्टेड फ्रॉम माई कैश. Okay. So all these are just changes in your current assets. Just remember it like this: current liability बढ़ा, it means मैंने payment नहीं किया, it means my cash went up. Current asset बढ़ा, it means मैंने कहीं तो cash दे दिया, cash will go down, and vice versa. So these are all those changes. तो तुम 2004 का balance sheet में current assets देखोगे, current liabilities देखोगे, या 2005 में देखोगे. Okay, this all will give you your cash generated from operations. And because we have started with profit before tax, here we subtract the income taxes paid, and this gives you your net cash provided by operating activities. This is your most difficult part. After that, it's pretty simple. You have to do cash flow from investing, and you have to do cash flow from financing. Investing, if you will see, there is capital expenditure for plant and equipment, which is again a fixed asset, and there are some proceeds from sale of equipment. So if you will see that यहाँ पे जो प्रोसीड्स है ना सेल ऑफ इक्विपमेंट, मैं पूरी पूरी मशीनरी मैंने बोला 140 में बेच दी, तो वो पूरा 140 का फिगर, पूरा पैसा मेरे पास जो आया है, दैट गेट्स रिकॉर्डेड ओवर हियर. यहाँ पे ऑपरेटिंग में जो मैंने चेंज किया ना, दैट वाज ओनली दैट 40 का गेन, इट वाज नॉट द पूरा इनकम. राइट, आई होप दैट्स क्लियर. करूँ? हाँ. सो forget the machinery numbers that are given here. We'll take simple numbers. Suppose I purchased a machinery for लिखो चाहिए तो I purchased the machinery for 100 rupees. Depreciate हुई वो 2 साल, और आज वो मेरे बुक्स पे 80 rupees पे थी. Now I sold that machinery for 140 rupees. Okay. Abhi when I sold the machine, I got 140 rupees from someone. So that inflow of 140 will obviously go in my investing, because I had invested in that machine. It's an asset. Now I sold it. So it's coming in my investment as an inflow of 140 bucks. But there was a component of this entire transaction that had hit my P&L. What was that? That was the gain of 40 rupees, because my book value of the machine was 80. And now I sold it for 140. So then I made a gain of 60. So I made a gain of 60. That profit of 60 had hit my P&L, right? While calculating operating activities, I don't want that gain to show up because it is not my core business. So that profit of 60, I will reduce from my P&L when making the indirect method ka operating part. Okay, but in my investing part, I record the entire inflow of 140. Okay, so again to reiterate, the mota moti inflow and the mota moti outflow of my transactions is coming in my investment. What is getting changed in my operating is only the gain, not the entire revenue of that machinery. ठीक है? Yeah, so that is about investing. Then for financing, so here if you see, it's they've said proceeds from insurance of long-term debt, proceeds from insurance of short-term debt. Let me just see why they are using the word insurance. Point is, anything related to that will come here, but okay, I'll check and get back why they have used the word insurance. Issuance होगा. Makes sense. Yeah, that makes sense. ठीक है. So yeah, so if I take a loan, I get an inflow, which is why the number against that is positive. It is an inflow. And dividends that I paid out, that's on the equity share capital that I raised, so that was a financing activity. Purchase of treasury stock is that what I said, where you repay equity, which is where you buy back your own stock. So that is just basically equity issue किया तो इधर inflow दिखेगा because मेरे को shareholders ने पैसा दिया, versus if I buy back my shares, it means I take back the share from my shareholder and I give him money, which is why this number is negative. interest expense is again on the loan that I had taken, the interest that I'm paying. So this interest expense was the interest expense that I had added back here, right? In my operating activities, मैंने interest expense of 58,750 ऐड किया था. Why? Because मुझे वहाँ expense नहीं दिखाना था. अब मैं उसको under financing subtract करूँगी, ठीक है? So this gives me my net cash from financing. So I have ended up with net cash from operating. Now I know कि मैं cash मोटा मोटी operating से कितना हिला, finance से investing से कितना हिला, and in investing financing और operating से कितना हिला, ठीक है? So total then you do A B C, which is take the effect of operating, financing, investing. So overall my cash reduced by 1,03,000 whatever. So my opening balance of cash was this. Now when I make my balance sheet for the coming year, I will subtract this decrease from the last opening balance and I get the closing balance of this year. Opening balance plus all these changes of operating, investing, financing gives me my closing balance of cash. And that should conclude the problem. Direct method, एक बार फटाफट let's just go over it. So direct method में like I said, कस्टमर से जितना सेल आया वो इधर दिख रहा है, यहाँ पे जो पेमेंट्स किए वो दिख रहे हैं. सो इफ यू विल सी नेट कैश फ्रॉम ऑपरेटिंग, यहाँ पे जितना है वो इनडायरेक्ट मेथड में भी सेम दिखेगा. Okay, but here I have written down the actual in cash inflows outflows. In indirect I just adjusted my P&L figure. Okay, and baki investing and financing remain as is in both direct and indirect. Let's take at least 5 minutes for Q&A, since we have wrapped in 1 hour cash flow. So I'm, yeah, over to you guys. No idea. हाँ, तो PDF में annotate कर लेना comment add करके. I think that's how I do it. Yeah, स्कूल में करते थे. है किसी को doubts? I doubt that. Hi Rohan.
हेलो.
What's up?
नहीं,
मिला
डाउट
तो
के लिए मैं क्या?
मुझे डाउट नहीं होगा.
नहीं, डाउट के लिए मैं भी हूँ लेकर अगर कुछ.
हाँ. Okay.
यार हम ये डायरेक्ट मेथड भी पूछ सकते हैं क्या
हाँ,
एग्जाम में?
डायरेक्ट मेथड पूछ सकते हैं, बट फ्रैंकली डायरेक्ट इज एक्चुअली वेरी
इजी.
इजी.
हाँ,
डायरेक्ट इज द इजियर वन टू डू बिकॉज तुम्हें दिख रहा है कि इतना पैसा अंदर आया, ये थ्रू अंदर आया, कस्टमर पेड मी सो दैट्स योर इनफ्लो, यू पेड अ क्रेडिटर सो दैट्स योर आउटफ्लो. सो दैट इज इजी टू डू, बट व्हाट इज टफ इज इनडायरेक्ट मेथड. So if they ask you direct, thank you stars.
नहीं, सिंस इनडायरेक्ट मेथड इज मोर कन्वेंशनली फॉलोड ना, मुझे लगा
Yeah,
डायरेक्ट. इवन यूटी राव डिडंट फोकस दैट मच ऑन
direct
डायरेक्ट.
good then. ठीक है. अरे विभूति रिकॉर्डिंग पॉज कर दे. ठीक है, आई गेस किसी को क्वेश्चंस नहीं है. यही है ऐसी लॉजिकली, इवन इफ यू हैव अंडरस्टूड टू बी एबल टू सॉल्व इट ऑन योर ओन.